Welcome back to another action figure review. In today's episode we're going to be taking a look at another brand new set that has recently arrived in the B&M stores, which is the History of the Daleks set number 14, which is based on the story Revelation of the Daleks. Now, a lot of people are a bit peeved with the fact that we seem to have skipped another story yet again, because we all know this is not how they appeared after the Five Doctors. But it's happened before, so instead of having two Grey Drones or even a Supreme Dalek, we've now gone on to these gold and ivory beauties. So before we get into all the new updates in this Dalek design, let's give our undivided attention to the brand new packaging. So starting with the box, the new coloured style guide has been presented with this white and yellow glow this time, with the TARDIS on the side, as well as the new Doctor Who logo, the name of the set, as well as the old gold limited edition foil sticker. You also have that brand new Vortex insert, which looks really well, and I think the yellow and the blue contrast it quite well. Like I said in the previous review, each Doctor is represented by a different colour, so this time around for Colin, he is represented with yellow, so that's quite cool. And just like the previous sets, the figures are now encased in a plastic blister card, meaning that there is no plastic window anymore, and they're pretty much held in with sheer force. On the back of the box you feature a synopsis about Revelation of the Daleks, as well as behind the scenes information on the props themselves. Opening up the box, the figures look superb. They are pretty much the same, there is no difference between one or the other, but let's begin by taking a look at the details. So taking a look at one of the drones, they really do look amazing this time around. I do believe the last time that this figure was released was in the 2-packs that we got in Toys R Us, so I think that was around 2013 since we last saw this Dalek being released. So this is a must-buy for fans who have missed out. They look more accurate this time around, and just like with the Five Doctors one, it really helps with that silhouette. So beginning with the dome, you have brand new dome lights which are more steeper. We started seeing these type of dome lights in Resurrection of the Daleks. It was something they didn't really have to bother with, so really nice attention to detail there. The eye stalk is also new, which has got 4 rings going down the front, which is pretty accurate to what it was. And you also have the glossy eyeball with the iris at the front, which is also again very nice and crisp. You've also got the neck bin as per usual, but this time in sort of like a dark gold, with all the rings being painted in this ivory colour. And then you also have that extra ring section that the Five Doctors Dalek had, but this time it's been painted in the same sort of bronzy gold colour. Again, very nice and crisp, there's no paint bleeds on this whatsoever. Then moving down to the midsection, again you have the solar panelled slats that have been seen on every other Dalek, using the new sculpt that was seen on last year's sets, although this time around, instead of actually painting them white and adding all the gold sections on later on, especially on the mesh section, this time they've actually just been painted gold, with the vertical slats being painted white itself. Now, on mine, it's not too bad and actually looks quite clean and crisp, but I have seen some that have been missed out quite badly, unfortunately, and I would arguably say that it is a bit sloppy here and there, but luckily enough, I have been quite lucky with mine. It's just a shame to see on other people's ones that it is quite bad, so I do hope they sort of change that in future, as it doesn't seem to be working at all. So it's a shame, but you know, at the end of the day, it's trial and error with these things. Talking about the midsection, the whole front piece is also brand new. As you could probably tell, the oval itself is much more wider, which again is accurate to the props, as they were changed by this point. Apart from that, everything else seems to be the same. The gun and the plunger have also been painted in this brilliant gold, like on the rest of the body. Moving down to the skirt and base, again, these are brilliantly painted, and it doesn't seem to be any paint bleeds on mine whatsoever. Now, I know it's not the correct shape, because at this point, the Daleks became a lot steeper, and sadly, I don't think we're ever going to be getting that whatsoever, because it would just require all new tooling. I just can't see this happening, because basically all they'll be using it for is this and in Remembrances, because they're also quite steep in that story. But at the end of the day, the rest of the body, the way they've made it accurate, just looks superb. It's probably the best we're ever going to get it. It just looks great. And then taking a look at one of the earlier models, here we have the SFX Dalek that came out in 2011, I want to say. And to be fair, this is such an update. I mean, you can tell from here there was a few inaccuracies and colour differences this time around, especially on the eye sculpt. This one was very short and wide. It just didn't look right whatsoever. I felt like it was very tiny. I just felt like it was too short and stubby, and it just looked really awful in my opinion. And again, the colours are much more vibrant on that earlier release. With here, they're much more toned down, which is pretty close to what we've seen on the on-screen counterparts. Articulation-wise, this Dalek is exactly how every other Dalek works. The dome can do a full 360 twist. The eye stalk can pivot up and down. The gun and plunger are on ball joints, meaning that you can pose the appendages in any way you want to. And then to finish things off, you have 3 wheels on the bottom, with the first one being able to turn any direction possible, giving the Dalek a full range of mobility. So, in general, this is another great set for fans who may have missed out on the initial release of those Necros Daleks, as each variant that was released back in the day was very sought after. I do recall the 4-pack that came with Davros was such a bugger to get a hold of for some fans, and the SFX Wave and the Toys R Us sets weren't any easier to find. But the updates really do improve the overall look of these Daleks. Yeah, the skirt isn't 100%, but these adjustments are probably the best we're ever going to get them. Not only that, but this makes out to be a really good set for army builders who might want to build up their Necros Dalek army. Hopefully in the future we will be getting a Resurrection of the Dalek set with the Grey Drones, as they are pretty much the same in both stories, so it would be cool to actually pose these on the shelf with these ones in particular. And this pretty much wraps up this review. Join me next time as we take a look at the final set from this wave, which will raise a few eyebrows, so stay tuned for that.